My name is Dr. Nicolene Lottering, an anatomist from Bond University, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by Dr. Grainne Oates from Swinburne University of Technology, as well as two of our health sciences students, Talia and Abigail, to discuss how we constructed an engaged virtual learning community for anatomy using mobile-based gamification. Professor Richard Ardern challenges, what we are selling is not connecting with our students. Educators are being challenged with a lack of learner engagement, low visibility of performance in real time, as well as delayed data in content performance. Our unit evaluation data from 2019 for an undergraduate musculoskeletal anatomy unit revealed that our students just find the threshold learning incredibly difficult to master. The main issues plaguing our musculoskeletal anatomy course, independent to obviously the global pandemic and online learning difficulties, were the fact that our students were turning off the Canvas notifications. There was a significant spike in access patterns the weekend before summative assessment. This suggests that students weren't keeping up with content and simply cramming prior to an exam or assessment. Finally, we also found that students had increased anxiety, which led to low attrition during the first 3 weeks of the course, mainly because our students didn't know how to study effectively. They also found the transition in workload, language, and assessment structure difficult to follow. So we live in a world that has fundamentally changed, one that continues to change in comprehensive, ever-accelerating ways. As a result, we face a fundamentally different kind of student. They see the world differently, and that's why they engage differently. In response to the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning in COVID Times and Beyond theme, this presentation considers the learning preferences of Generation Z, advocated by Ian Jukes, to reimagine remote delivery of health science undergraduate units in order to increase learner engagement. So as faculty, we think a lot about teaching. We regularly create new courses or revise existing ones. We talk with our colleagues about our classes and our students. However, in all of this, how often do we actually collaborate and work alongside our students to enhance their learning? So we dared to ask the question, how can we, together, deepen student learning in this course? Our commitment to student-faculty partnerships is rooted in 3 foundational beliefs. Firstly, that students have insights into teaching and learning that can make our and their practice more engaging, effective, and rigorous. Secondly, faculty can draw on student insights, not only through collecting student responses, but also through collaborating with our students to study and design teaching and learning together. Finally, partnerships between students and faculty change the understandings and capacities of both sets of partners, making us all better teachers and learners.
The motivation behind introducing Quitch to this unit was to provide a solution for the challenges faced by educators and students. The Quitch solution included students as partners, co-creating content under the supervision of their academic, with a focus on issues through the lens of the student. The content created was visually appealing, creative, and nudged students to learn in a fun, engaging and empowering way, with positive reinforcement and personalised analytics along their learning journey. Educators received real-time data on learner performance, allowing for early intervention, and on content performance, highlighting areas where students were struggling. Quitch uses a tried and tested learning technique that has been around for almost 2 centuries. It's called spaced repetition learning, and it's tied to Ebbinghaus's forgetting curve, which shows that our brains naturally forget information over time. Spaced repetition learning, which is entrenched in Quitch's gameplay, combats our natural tendency to forget. The Quitch approach breaks down new learning material into bite-sized chunks, allows revision regularly through short bursts of rapid-fire gaming, and gradually increases the interval between revision sessions, committing the information to long-term memory through the practice of active recall.
As third-year students in 2020, throughout our degree and when completing this specific unit previously, we both saw that students lacked engagement and were disconnected as they did not attend class nor study with their peers. This was compounded during COVID-19 remote learning period where many students reported feelings of isolation, lack of motivation, and non-conductive at-home study environments. Therefore, under the Peer Leader program created by Dr. Lottering, we were part of a team of 5 senior students who aim to firstly support first-year students with the transition to university life, and secondly to co-create learning content using gamification to make learning fun and engaging. We use modern technology including social media, the Quitch mobile-based app, and Zoom study sessions to create a peer-based learning environment. A flipped classroom model was proposed, with pre-recorded lectures provided and lecture sessions reserved for active learning, Q&A and anatomy demonstrations. Peer leaders were involved especially in the delivery of post-class resources such as Quitch quizzes and providing pastoral care for students. To inform our digital strategy, pre-class surveys indicated that 83% of first-year students were aged 24 years or under, 89% were multimodal and visual learners, and 93.5% indicated that gamification quizzes and challenges interested them. Armed with these insights into learning tendencies, our peer leadership strategy focused on piloting the Quitch app for content co-creation to improve student performance and retention through promoting positive learning patterns through weekly functional anatomy and clinical quizzes. Aligned with the 12-week semester, topics were segregated based on regional anatomy, and for each week, 1 to 2 quizzes were created using visually based questions that included identification, fill in the blank, and case-based learning format. Each quiz was released after the laboratory sessions to complement the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve under a flipped classroom paradigm.
The correlation between Quitch usage, based on extensive analytics from the Educator portal, and academic performance in spotter or flag race examinations in Canvas were quantified using a 4-score ordinal rating system based on access patterns from quiz release, by calculating the time between release date and date answered. This was done for each quiz that the student completed, and then a mode of time to access was taken in order to give the student an overall engagement rating. The rating system was strongly influenced by the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve and the principle of spaced learning. A rating of 1 meant students accessed the quiz within the first week, a rating of 2 within the first 2 weeks, a rating of 3 when accessed during the final revision period before the final exam, called swag back only, and a rating of 4 if they did not access the quizzes at all. The ratings after mid-semester data collection revealed, however, that there was no significant difference between a rating of 1 versus 2. Therefore, these 2 categories were combined to reflect this final rating system. Our results indicate that students who had high Quitch engagement, a rating of 1, scored on average 22% higher than students who did not engage with or download Quitch. Specifically, students who received a rating of 1 scored a 67.5% average across their 2 flag races. This can be compared to students who received a rating of 4, scoring on average only 45.7%. When comparing flag race 1 to flag race 2, the students with high Quitch engagements, meaning they received a rating of either 1 or 2, performed better in the week 12 flag race, which could suggest that gamification-based learning is possibly linked to increased motivation. In comparison, students with low engagement, meaning they received a rating of 4, performed worse in their second flag race. We also compared the top 20 Quitch leaderboard to the rest of the cohort, and found that the top 20 Quitch students performed 27.61% better than students who did not engage with Quitch as frequently.
The uptake of the Quitch quizzes and resources in the Semester 2 units was impressive, evidenced by approximately 80% of the musculoskeletal cohort opting to use and download the app, while 64% of these students reported engaging with the app weekly. Interestingly, of the 55% of students who opted to not download the app, failed the unit. So when asked to rate the effectiveness of Quitch to help them to regularly revise content in the semester, 85% of respondents agreed that Quitch was an effective tool to prepare them for assessment. 90% reported that Quitch content made learning fun, enjoyable, and manageable, while 92% reported that Quitch is aligned with the way that they learn best. In addition, 88% recommended that they would like their other units to also sign up to Quitch. Collectively, if we look at academic performance and demographic data, student enrollments increased between 2019 and 20 from 125 to 164 students in musculoskeletal anatomy. Only 2% of students withdrew from the unit before census date, while retention increased from 88% in 2019 to 97% in 2020. The fail rate also dropped from 15% to 9%, while the unit satisfaction improved slightly from 8.3 to 8.6 on a Likert scale. Our student testimonials for Semester 1 include by far the best unit that I was part of for the transition to COVID, managed really, really well, especially since this was originally a class that was highly reliant on learning and labs. And this is then corroborated by a testimonial for semester 2. The transition to online was one of the best I had all semester.
Last year I had the opportunity to use the Quitch app as a way to help revise my content for the units. Throughout the remote learning due to COVID lockdowns in Melbourne and Victoria, it was a really helpful way for me to get through the content every week and help revise consistently in a way that I was able to recall all of the information really easily when it came time for the end of assessments and exams.
The benefits of integrating Quitch in my units include the fact that it is mobile based, therefore it makes it more accessible to students, especially when considering that approximately 32% of our students turn off their Canvas LMS notifications. This is then verified by student testimonials in unit evaluation surveys. For example, I feel Quitch is an easier means to test knowledge than traditional quizzes, and certainly more interesting and interactive given the gaming aspects of it. Formative assessment content was viewed as fun and enjoyable as it was created using references to modern media, including relevant TV shows and worldly events. This is a benefit of co-creating content with students and our peer leaders who can relate to our students a lot better. And then finally, the simple and sleek educator portal to create content very quickly in comparison to quiz creation tools in Canvas and Blackboard allows for better and ease of use.
As students who've used Quitch within multiple units, we have experienced the benefits firsthand, including the ability to identify gaps within our knowledge. We also had the unique experience of being invited to co-create content in conjunction with the Students as Partners framework. Our peer leader group met weekly to discuss content we were preparing and delivering, share parts of our lives with each other, and encourage one another continually. This peer community kept us connected during a time of isolation, and getting to work together to create Quitch content gave us a shared goal to feel motivated and inspired about.
Furthermore, we were provided with the opportunity to make new friendships and form professional relationships with the first-year students by helping them navigate university and the COVID challenges. We provided online forums for peer-to-peer study sessions using Oates and practice flag races, created TikToks for them to learn from, and gave leadership announcements from Quitch every week to encourage them to use the app more frequently.
I set a reminder on my phone to practice my Quitch questions daily, and it really helped with my comprehension and understanding. I would recommend Quitch to all students wanting to make their marks higher and to understand the content in a different and engaging way.
Given the success of the Students as Partners programme run by Nikki, we were inspired to create a Quitch marketplace. The marketplace provides content across a range of disciplines, from business to science, with a focus on first-year units, because we know this is where students struggle the most. Quitch employed the team from Students as Partners to create this content, which is now available to students across the globe and offered in 7 languages. Simply download the Quitch app for access. At Quitch, we will continue to conduct research and involve both educators and students to continually provide us feedback to ensure the product is meeting their needs. We believe smartphones are an underutilised resource in education and are proud of the impact we've been able to make to learning outcomes for students.
Finally, we'd like to thank you for your attention and for the opportunity to present the findings from our study today. I would like to acknowledge the Quitch development team for their hard work and proactivity with respect to responding to user and student feedback. I would also like to acknowledge all of the peer leaders, so the 8 third-year students that were involved in the peer leader program in 2020. Our contact details can be found below, as well as our social media handles.